Thank you. Thank you. In his memoirs, the late Kurt Vonnegut said humans are all addicts of fossil fuel in a state of denial, about to face cold turkey. Vonnegut was right. When it comes to energy challenge we face, we are too often in a state of denial. I'm here to talk about ending that problem. Specifically, I want to talk about moving from an oil-based to a bio-based society. Today, like it or not, we depend on oil. There are two reasons for that. Firstly, relatively speaking, oil is cheap. Second, oil can be broken into its petrochemical parts and used in thousands of different ways. We use oil-based fuels for transportation. We use oil-based plastics to manufacture the laptop in your bag or the bottle of water you're drinking from. And we use oil-based chemicals in cosmetics, in computer chips, detergents, just about everything, really. But cheap energy from oil comes at a high cost. The thirst for oil forces countries to make decisions that harm their national security. And oil takes its toll on our planet. But despite what Vonnegut suggested, going cold turkey is really not an option. We need a replacement for oil. We need a replacement for fuels, for polymers and petrochemicals that are crucial to modern life. This replacement must come at oil's low price, but without its high cost. Where can we find it? Actually, the human body has evolved an answer to that question. Everything we eat, we break down, the food we eat, we break that down into energy, protein, nutrients, and minerals. We don't often think about this biological process, but really, it's a small miracle. Enzymes make that miracle possible. Enzymes are proteins. When they interact with certain molecules, they speed up chemical reactions. When we eat, enzymes are the key that unlocks the biomass we consume. And the power of enzymes is not limited to biology. Industrial enzymes can play a key role in transforming our society. Today, industrial biorefineries use enzymes to extract simple sugars, usually from corn kernels, sugarcane, or soybean. Once the sugar is unlocked, you can make biofuel for transportation, but just as importantly, you can use the sugar to create plastics and chemicals that are currently made from oil. But this is just scratching the surface. To truly move from an oil-based to a bio-based society, we need to find ways to break down more complicated biomass. Corn cobs, corn stovers, wood chips, wheat straw, used paper, municipal waste. These types of biomass are made of cellulose, which are complex and very robust chains of carbohydrates. If a molecule of a simple sugar is a lock and key mechanism, a molecule of cellulose is a combination safe. But by using highly advanced enzyme technology, we can unwind cellulose and break it into sugar. And we can convert that sugar into fuel and bio-based products. When we can make this process less expensive, when we can bring down the cost of the price of a barrel of biofuel made from waste to that, so that it's competitive with fossil fuel, we will finally have a true replacement for oil and the key to a bio-based society. The bio-based society will create hundreds of thousands of new jobs in agriculture and manufacturing and generate fuels, chemicals, and plastics that are, for all practical purposes, carbon neutral. The World Wildlife Fund estimates that by 2030, biofuels, biochemicals, and bioplastics could reduce CO2 emissions by up to 1.7 billion tons. That equals to the emissions of California, Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey and Texas combined. The World Economic Forum estimates the total market for bio-based products to reach $230 billion already in 2020. Our vision for a bio-based society is not limited to any one country, but we believe it has a special importance to the United States. The US consumes more than 20% of world's oil, but holds less than 2% of its reserves. The good news is that the race to lead the world into the new era of bioenergy, in that race the US has a head start. The US produces 25% of world's agricultural waste residues. There's a skilled workforce. There are the first elements of the infrastructure that will be needed to bring bioenergy to scale. This competitive edge is fragile, but today it belongs to the United States. If the US can maintain and expand upon this gain it's already made, it can be the energy leader of our new economy. I have great faith that the bio-based society is coming. Oil is scarce and becoming more expensive. At the same time, biotechnology is discovering new breakthroughs every day. But when I say that the bio-based society is coming, I don't mean it's coming automatic. We can't sit back and wait for progress. We must make progress. And this will not be the work of any one company, any one nation for that matter. It will be the work of us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Steen. As many know, he's a leader in forming the bio-based society. And as you think about one of his comments, it's actually quite stark. I was looking around the room, and I don't think there's anything you can touch in this room that's not made from oil. So, right, this may be metal, but the surface coating, the carpet, the chair you're sitting on, everything about you, the keys on your BlackBerry. So the question I have is, given that 90% of all organic chemicals come from oil today, and that one day all those multi-billion-dollar industries might be made from sustainable feedstocks, where do you see the greatest value, not just for Novozymes, but for microbes in general, to contribute value in the economy? Where in the long term can they add the most value?
Long term, I think they
10 years.
can... 10 years?
10 years.
I think we need more than 10 years.
You know, okay, 10 and on.
The way I see the whole thing unfold is that first we need to develop what we call the sugar platform, which is a cheap, abundant source of sugar made from renewable resources. And I'm absolutely convinced that the biofuel, because it's such a big volume product, will be driving the cost of that platform down. Mm-hmm. Once we have secured a cheap platform of sugar, then it will be an excellent platform for the production of biochemicals. Well, already now all of this is unfolding, but really to get to good economies for chemicals, I think there's still some way to go, and biofuels will be driving that.
Gotcha. So biofuels are the volume driver. The long-term profit potential is more broad. Gotcha. So maybe more provocatively then, might you look 100, 200 years in the future and look at biofuels as a transitional technology? That if you were looking back from that future point, would you marvel that we as a human species took all these long-chain hydrocarbons, this precious resource like the Amazon forest, and simply burned it in our internal combustion engines versus bioconverted it into rich chemicals with stereoscopic precision that could be used in very rich ways? I mean, doesn't it seem like the crudest thing one could do with a rich resource like that?
Yeah, to burn it. Well, first of all, I'm always a little bit jumpy when we talk about the Amazon rainforest. I would never suggest that we take biomass out of that. I
was comparing our oil reserves, the hydrocarbons in the ground, as a resource that's as precious as the Amazon.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yes, you're probably right. 90% is today burned and 10% of oil, and only 10% used for the production of chemicals. And probably we should spare, you could say, that important resource for the future. This is not what we are doing. In the meantime, we will be able to develop a sustainable alternative to oil.